Hello and thank you for checking out this video. I want to start off by pointing out the differences between the two harnesses for the RE series transmissions. Keep in mind this video also applies to the RH versions, meaning 1995 and older, the main differences being the amount of wires and or solenoids present. However, this particular video is focused on models 96 and newer. So the first version for the RE series, 96 to mid-1999, one type of harness and governor pressure sensor was used. The governor pressure sensor has a built-in temperature sensor, so it has a 4-wire round connector and a round metal body, as seen here, the golden one. For removal, it's not necessary to remove the valve body. The case connector is fastened to the top of the 2-3 accumulator, which is this piece right here, and it is a separate removable component. It has 3 screws retaining it, 2 on the left and 1 on the right as seen, and they are a T25 Torx. Note that there is a spring between the 2 left screws, so be careful not to let it fly out during removal. You can also see that the housing is partially retaining another valve under spring tension right here. You don't have to worry about this since it can't come out during removal. The harness is zip tied to the overdrive and torque converter clutch solenoids, so those have to be cut if you're leaving the solenoids behind and not replacing them. If you are replacing them, this is not necessary. Now I'm disconnecting the governor pressure control solenoid and the governor pressure sensor. Next, I start disconnecting the overdrive and torque converter clutch solenoids, but the connector can't be removed right now, only until after the governor housing is removed. There's just not enough space for it right now. So onto the governor housing. It has 4 7/16 inch headed bolts and 2 T25 Torx headed bolts. Once removed, the pressure control solenoid retaining bracket comes off, which is that gray bracket. And finally, the governor housing can be removed. I'll also go ahead and finish removing that last connector. At this point, the harness is fully disconnected. Now on to removing the screws for the 2-3 accumulator. Again, these are T25 Torx. Here's where it can get tricky. The connector must be pushed downward from the outside of the case while pulling the accumulator downward. Do not pull the accumulator too hard, as you can easily break the connector. You'll see why here in a second. Sometimes the connector can be very stuck. My right hand is pushing on the connector. You can see the spring left in place. It'll also stay in place if you're working on this under a vehicle. Just pay attention to it as you're removing the accumulator and if possible, reach a finger in there to hold it from jumping out. So looking here, you can see why you need to be gentle. There's only one screw holding this connector. It's meant to be loose and floating like you see because this helps during installation. For installation, I don't have a video, but it is the reverse of removal. All of the 7/16 inch bolts are torqued to 100 inch-pounds. All of the Torx bolts are torqued to 35 inch-pounds. Here's some bonus content. To remove the pressure control solenoid, it just pulls straight out of the body. For the pressure sensor, it has a W-shaped clip holding it, only accessible from the underside. Be careful removing it because a replacement can be really hard to find. Once that's removed, the sensor pulls straight out. This is the part that changed in 1999, and the newer version is not backwards compatible, even with the matching harness. The temperature sensor is different. That's the whole reason for me doing this swap. Here's a picture of the 2001 47 RE I mentioned. It has the newer pressure sensor, which is the boxy black component to the bottom right. I believe this style was used from mid-99 until around 2008 for select vehicles. So, you can use different year transmissions for your swap, but be sure you get the correct year or the correct harness and solenoids. So that's it for this video. I hope it was helpful. This is part of a big Frankenstein project where I'm converting my 94 manual 2-wheel drive Cummins to an auto and 4-wheel drive, and I'm using a 97 gas V6 PCM and harness to control it. I'll have videos out on that sometime too. It's nearly finished. If that's content you're interested in, consider subscribing. Thanks.